People of the realm, Season 6 is well and truly over, and just as we've waited for Ramsay to become dog food, we've also waited for the Dothraki to get over their fear of the sea. Today's video is all about these horse lords and their probable doom. Westerosi and Essosi. For those of you yet to visit the Citadel and read any of the books, fear not. This video contains just my ponderings and predictions based on the show alone. Now, in case you've been hiding under a rock or decided to sail through the doom of what once was Valyria, allow me to get you up to speed. The great horse lords inhabit the grassy sea of Essos, where they've been raiding and pillaging for a very long time. The great city-states pay tribute to the Khals to avoid their deadly retribution. But these Khals have never been united, and after Khal Drogo dies, we see just how fragile a Khalasar can be. Now fragmented, the strength of this once great host goes to bolster that of other Khals. Meanwhile, the silver-haired widow of Drogo begins to act. Over the course of seasons, we see how the Dothraki reach for greatness with Drogo. He soon declares that the child of Daenerys Targaryen and himself shall be the stallion that mounts the world. That dream dies along with his son, and Drogo follows soon after. After his death, the Khalasar splinters off and the power vacuum becomes clear, with people like Khal Porno becoming more prominent. And so the infighting continues to the detriment of all Dothraki, Dany included. Now she's left with somewhat a meagre force at the time. Meanwhile, a collection of widows, the Doshkalin, sit in face Dothrak, which is kind of odd considering they have a world of experience that is simply going to waste, and for what? For their customs? For their beliefs? For it's said that once your Khal dies, the Khaleesi must come to this sacred place. And even the mighty Daenerys Targaryen, with her dragons and her Unsullied, she even manages to be taken there in the end. But one custom above all others should be adhered to, as it could mean the eventual doom for the Dothraki. And that custom is that the Dothraki should never cross the Salt Sea. It's poison to them, their horses cannot drink it, and so the Khalasar cannot survive. What is a warrior without his horse? No horse lord. And so with Drogo long dead, and those Khals that gathered in his stead burnt to a crisp at the hands of his widow, the great people choose to ignore this custom. They put their fears to one side and figure they're going to cross the narrow sea. But I believe they are right to be afraid. Once across the narrow sea, Dothraki are essentially light horse. Jorah has proven way back in season 1 that the Dothraki are no match for an armoured enemy. So I'm expecting them to be deployed to either the flanks of any large scale battle, or perhaps even as fodder for the Weiss. We do know from casting calls that it would appear as if we're going to get a new Dothraki character, and this indicates that the Dothraki will still have a role to play. And let's not forget that last season we were introduced to a widow of a Khal called Ornella. If we have her and a new character together, I think we're going to see something happen. But the question is, what does this mean for the Dothraki? Well, it's either going to be their doom or their rebirth. Consider that the Dothraki will be landing on foreign soil and fighting Westerosi. They will be seen as foreign barbarians. Now, this will actually give lords who have yet to pick a side a good reason to resist Dany. Dothraki are rightly feared for their methods, and their brutality is not going to encourage people to willingly support her, but if deployed as a type of shock troop, they could take some weaker lands based on reputation alone. So one of two things will happen. The Dothraki will either meet a better organised army on the field of battle and lose, or they will be used to fight the others and lose. Either way, I can't see them winning, and I expect their losses to be heavy, and now that their leadership is no more, Dany would clearly require any survivors or victors to change their ways. After all, this is what she's requested of the Greyjoys who have sworn fealty to her, and Yara and Theon have agreed to this. So will the Dothraki give up their raids, their pillaging, give up on their nomadic way of life and settle in the kingdom of Westeros under Dany? I think they will. But that brings another question: where would they settle? Well, if I put on my logical head, I have a look at the two least populated parts of Westeros, and they are the Gift in the north, but by this time we're expecting a lot of wildlings to be there. And the second is in the south. The second is Dorne. And we all know what sort of a mess Dorne is in right now in the television show. As I predicted in my What's Next Ellaria video, Dorne's decline is going to continue. The show simply can't recover from the mess it's created with their story, and so it's actually possible now that the Dothraki could end up settling there once Ellaria has been removed. So I want to know what you think. Are the Dothraki doomed? Will they be able to survive? Do you think they'll be able to stand up against armoured Westerosi? So the fires of theory grow cold for now. What do you think will happen with the Dothraki? Will they lose it all, or have they got to adapt to survive? Thank you as always for your awesome support. Remember, hit that like button if you're enjoying the content, or change your family name to Frey if you don't. I'm the Northlander, and remember, you know nothing, and neither do I.